She was a young mother living in a house that was supposed to feel safe. It was her parents' home, but it never felt like home to her anymore. After her life fell apart, she came back with her little daughter, hoping for support and love. But things were very different now. Her parents had changed. Or maybe they had always been like this, and she never saw it before. At first, it was small insults, cold words, no respect. But slowly, it turned into something worse. They stopped treating her like a daughter. And even worse, they started treating her small child like she did not matter. The little girl was innocent. She smiled even when people were harsh. She did not understand why her grandparents always gave her orders instead of hugs. Clean this. Bring that. Stay quiet. She was treated like a servant inside her own family house. A child who should have been playing was instead doing small chores every day. The mother watched everything in silence. Her heart broke again and again, but she could not speak. She had no job, no support, and nowhere else to go. So she stayed quiet, hoping things might change one day. But they did not change. The house became colder. Even food at the table came with disrespect. Every corner of the home felt heavy, like something was wrong, but nobody cared to fix it. The mother often stood near the window at night, holding her daughter close, thinking about how life became this cruel. And then one evening, something unusual happened. A black car stopped outside the house. The engine turned off slowly, and a man in a dark suit stepped out, standing still, looking directly at the house, as if he already knew everything happening inside. The evening was quiet, but the air felt different the moment the black car stopped outside the house. It was not a normal visitor. It was something heavier, like a warning without words. The man in the dark suit stepped out slowly. His shoes touched the ground without sound. He looked calm, but his eyes were sharp and focused, like he was not here by accident. Inside the house, the young mother noticed him first through the window. Her heart skipped a beat. She did not know who he was, but something about him made her feel both afraid and safe at the same time. Her parents were in the living room, still speaking in their usual cold tone. The little girl sat quietly in the corner, holding a small cloth in her hands, trying not to get shouted at again. Then came a knock on the door. Not loud, not rude, just firm. The father opened the door slowly, expecting a salesman or a mistake. But when he saw the man in the black suit, his expression changed for a second, just a small flicker of confusion. "Who are you?" the father asked. The man did not answer immediately. He only looked past him into the house, as if he was reading every corner, every person, every secret inside. That silence felt uncomfortable, heavy, wrong. The mother came closer, holding her daughter's hand tightly. The little girl hid behind her leg, sensing something unusual. Finally, the man spoke in a calm voice. "I am here for what you did not see, but should have." No one understood what he meant, but the way he said it made the room colder. The father tried to act strong, but his voice was not as steady as before. And the man in the dark suit, he just stepped inside the house without asking again. The man in the dark suit entered the house like he already belonged there. No one stopped him. No one even tried. Something about his presence made the room feel controlled, like the air itself was listening to him. The father followed behind, trying to regain his authority. "You can't just walk in like this," he said, forcing confidence into his voice. But it sounded weak, even to himself. The man did not look at him. Instead, his eyes moved slowly across the house, the worn-out furniture, the silent child, and the tired mother standing close to the wall. Then he spoke again, calm and clear. "This house remembers everything." A strange silence followed. The mother felt her hands shake slightly. She did not understand why, but felt like this man already knew their life story. Not just the present, but the past too. The little girl peeked from behind her mother. She studied the man carefully. He was not smiling, but he was not cruel either. He was something else, distant, but aware. The father tried to change the subject. "If you want something, say it clearly." The man finally turned his eyes to him. That single look was enough to make the father stop talking mid-sentence. "I'm not here for what I want," the man said slowly. "I am here for what you did." The room tightened again. The mother's heart started beating faster. She looked at her parents, then at the stranger. Something was wrong. Very wrong. The man walked closer to the table and placed a small black folder on it. No one moved. Inside that folder were papers, photos, and records. Things no one expected to exist. The father's face changed slightly when he saw it, because suddenly the past he thought was buried was now sitting right in front of him. The black folder stayed on the table like a silent threat. No one dared to touch it first. The room felt frozen, as if even breathing could cause trouble. The man in the dark suit stood quietly beside it. He did not rush. He did not explain. He simply waited, like he knew the truth would open itself. The father finally reached for the folder with a shaky hand. His pride was still there, but it was cracking from inside. He opened it. The first page showed photos. Old ones, clear ones, moments from their past that no one was supposed to see again. The father's face changed instantly. The mother stepped closer without thinking. She saw documents, reports, and names. Some were connected to their business. Some were connected to people they once controlled. Her eyes widened slowly. This is not possible, the father whispered. But the man in the dark suit answered without emotion. Everything is possible. It only depends on who is watching. A heavy silence followed. The little girl stayed close to her mother, holding her dress tightly. She could feel the fear in the room, even if she didn't understand it. The mother looked at the papers again. Something inside her shifted. For years, she believed she was powerless. But now she was seeing something new. Her parents were not as untouchable as they acted. The father tried to close the folder, but his hand stopped halfway. It was like his strength had left him. The man stepped forward just one step, and that small movement was enough to stop everything. "I didn't come here to talk," he said softly. "I came here to correct what was ignored." The word correct echoed in the room like a final warning. For the first time, the parents were not in control anymore, and they could feel it. After the folder was opened, nothing in the house felt the same again. It was like a hidden wall inside their life had suddenly broken. The father tried to act normal, but his hands were no longer steady. The documents on the table were not just papers anymore. They were proof. Proof of things he thought would never come back. The man in the dark suit watched quietly. He did not need to speak much now. The truth was already doing its work. The mother stood in silence. For years, she had accepted pain without question. But now she was seeing her parents differently. Not as strong figures, but as people who were hiding fear behind control. The little girl stayed close, looking at the strange man. She did not understand the situation, but she felt something important was happening. Something that was changing everything. Suddenly, the father's phone rang. He looked at it quickly and answered. His expression changed within seconds. His voice dropped. What do you mean the account is frozen?" He stepped back. Then another message came. Then another call. Everything was falling at the same time. The man in the dark suit finally spoke again. "Power does not disappear in one moment. It leaves in pieces." The mother looked at him, confused but shocked. It was clear now, this man was not just observing them. He was connected to everything that was collapsing. The father tried to argue, but no one was listening anymore. Even his anger felt weak now. The house that once felt strict and controlled was now full of uncertainty. The balance had shifted completely. And for the first time, the parents felt something they had never felt before. Loss of control. The man turned slightly toward the child, and his next words carried something heavier than before. "This is not the end. This is only the beginning of what comes next." The house was no longer the same place it used to be. It felt quiet, but not peaceful. It felt empty, but not calm. It felt like something important had already ended, even if everyone was still standing there. The father stood near the table, still holding the edge like it was the only thing keeping him stable. But his confidence was gone. His voice no longer carried power. The mother stayed silent, watching everything carefully. For years, she believed she was trapped in that house forever. But now, for the first time, she felt something different, like the walls around her life were starting to break. The little girl slowly moved closer to her mother. She looked tired and confused, but safe beside her. The man in the dark suit walked a few steps forward. Every movement was controlled. Calm. Final. The father finally spoke, his voice low. What do you really want from us? The man stopped. For a moment, there was only silence. Then he answered, I did not come for what I want. I came for what you destroyed. The words hit the room harder than anything before. The mother's eyes slowly lowered. Something inside her finally connected. This man was not random. He was not a stranger without reason. He had been watching, waiting for a long time. The father's past actions were no longer hidden. Everything he thought was buried had returned. The man in the dark suit looked at the little girl for a moment, and then he said something that changed everything. This child was never meant to live like this. The room froze again. The truth was now fully exposed. This was not just punishment. This was correction. And as the man turned toward the door, it became clear. Their power was not just broken. It was finished forever.